Hello, is my voice audible? Hello everyone. So today's session is access Salesforce data using wire service in Lightning Web Component. So please subscribe my channel and watch the videos. So the live session timing is Sunday 8 p.m. IST, 10:30 a.m. EST and 7:30 a.m. PST. So you can join on Sundays to attend the live session on Lightning Web Component. So the agenda for today is ways to access Salesforce data in Lightning Web Component, how to use Apex to access Salesforce data, wire an Apex method to a property, wire an Apex method to a function, Apex wired method with params, code snippets with explanation. Then we will do project to fetch cakes using wire service in Lightning Web Component. Then fun time, learn about event listener with balloon popping project in Lightning Web Component. So we will be starting with ways to access Salesforce data in Lightning Web Component. So how to access Salesforce data? So we can do that using Lightning Data Service to access Salesforce data. We can use base Lightning components. Then we can use wire service. You can use Apex methods in Lightning Web Component. Then we can have API from Apex, and then we can use composition to make long running callouts. So basically the Lightning data service based Lightning components, for these we don't need to write the code, but for wire service or using Apex imperatively or using the API, so we need to write logic, and using the whenever it is a complex scenario, that point of time we will be using Apex. Otherwise we will be trying to opt when we don't need to write code. So that's how we can access Salesforce data. So for instance, there is an object like account, contact, opportunity, and then we want to access the records. So how we can do that? So that's how these are the ways we can access the Salesforce data. So now today objective is that we will be discussing about accessing Salesforce data using Apex. So basically the steps to access Salesforce data using Apex. So the step one is call method from Apex class into JavaScript. And step 2 is call an Apex method as function into Lightning Web Component. So we will be seeing both the steps in detail, but today we are covering that how to access using Apex, and that to be wire service, and we are opting for wire service only if other we cannot use, only if there is complex data, then only we need to use that. Otherwise we will be opting for a scenario where we don't need to use Apex. So now we told that there are two steps. So the step one was call method from Apex class into JavaScript. So when we are talking about step one, call Apex method from Apex class into JavaScript. So how we do that is, so you can see here there is an import statement. So you use import, then you write the Apex method name from, and then you say at the rate Salesforce Apex, and then you have to write namespace only if the class is not present in the namespace, and then the class name, and after that the Apex method reference. So whatever is the name of the Apex method, you have to put there, and that you will be, and then there is a class name, then method name, and then you are importing it. So you are writing the import method name. So once we are doing in practice, you will get that idea. But that is the step one, to import the Apex class. Now here there is an interesting point, that when an Apex class name changes outside the JavaScript, so this name, class name, if it gets changed, it is automatically updated in the JavaScript file. But when we are talking about methods, then we need to change the name. So we are talking like this. So for example, we have an Apex class. So if this name changes, it is automatically changed in the JavaScript, that is the class name. But if we change the name of find products, that is the method name, then we need to change it there in the JavaScript as well. Now, how to use Apex to access Salesforce data using Apex. So we discussed the step one, that is call Apex method from Apex class. So okay, we did that. Now what is step two? Step 2 is call an Apex method as function into Lightning Web Component. So basically we are calling an Apex method. How we do that? We can do that in three ways. Via a property, via a function, and then call a method imperatively. So we have to note that before you use an Apex method, we have to make sure that there is no easier way to get the data. If there is an easier way where we don't try to have code, then we can use that. So if I go back, you have seen that Lightning data service, base Lightning components, like that we have some easier way. So we will be opting for it. If that is not working, if our logic is more complex, then only we will opt for Apex. So now we got that call an Apex method as function into Lightning Web Component. There are three ways. Today we are going to focus on via a property and via a function. So now access data using wire service in Lightning Web Component. So how we can do that? We can do that using wire a property and wire a function. So what we do is we say at the rate wire, then we say the Apex method name, whatever method we are importing, that name, then the parameter, if there is any, then we will be passing the parameter name, and then if we are wiring a property, then we will be putting property. If we are wiring a function, then we will be putting the function name. So that is how we are able to wire it. So first step is import, and second is that we wire it and put it like this. So now once we are ready, okay, this is how we do step 1 and step 2 about importing and then wiring. We have to also understand about our Apex method. So there are 3 points which we have to remember. Using the wire service, the method must be static. The method must be either global or public, and we annotate with or enabled. Cacheable equal to true. So if you see here, method is static. Then we said that it should be global or public. So you can see here it is global, sorry, it is public, and then you say that it should be having or enabled cacheable equal to true. So you can see or enabled cacheable equal to true. So for using wire service, we have to remember that we have to use these 3 steps. Now we said that cacheable has to be true. So what does it mean? So basically when we are writing or enabled cacheable equal to true, it improves the runtime performance. So what happens is that when we are saying cacheable, then it improves the component performance. Why? Because it is showing the data, cached data, in the client side storage. So it doesn't have to make the trip to server again and again, because it is stored in the client side itself. And if the cache data is stale, old, then we retrieve the latest data. But otherwise, we take it from the client side storage itself. So you see, make a method as cacheable improves component performance. If the cacheable data is stale, only then we get it from server. Otherwise, we get it from the browser. And to set cacheable equal to true, a method must only get data, it cannot mutate. What does it mean? So basically, a mutable object is an object whose state can be modified after it is created. For example, number, strings. So basically, whenever we can modify, then that is mutable object. And immutable object is an object whose state we cannot modify after creation. So basically, that's how mutable and immutable works. So here they say that a method must only get data, but it cannot change the data. It is just getting the data because of the wire service. So that's how we will be writing cacheable equal to true, and it helps in improving the performance. So for the wire service, cacheable equal to true is a must. Now that we have done about, we are using apex, and there also we are talking about wire service, now we get into more depth. We learned that there is a way of doing property, or we can wire using the function. So right now we are talking about the property. So wire apex method to property in lightning web component. So now you have already seen the statement. So what, this is step 1, and then this is step 2. So you have already seen that we will import, and then we will put the name, and then we will be wiring, and we will put the method name. So that is fine. Now comes the property or function. So we will be attaching the property, whatever property we want, we will be attaching with @wire, so that we can get the value. So you can see a private property or function that receives the stream of data from the wire service. So whatever is there in the apex, we are getting that data, and that is where we are putting in the property or in the function. So if the property is decorated with @wire, then you have to see the result are returned to the properties data or error property. So basically it returns to the properties data property or error property. And these are the only ones you have to use, because these are the hard coded API. So either you have to use data property or error property, which we will be seeing. So if before going in detail, let's revise little bit about rendering list in Lightning Web Component, because that's what we are going to do in the entire session. So how we render a list. So to render list, we write template for each, and then for example, when we were rendering array, so we were writing the name of the array. But here we are rendering basically the property, and then what we want here, we said, right, the property is data property or error property. So here we want data, so we say contacts.data. So we say that iterate over contacts.data for item equal to contact. So basically it holds the current item in the for item, and here we can put any name we want to put. So it will be holding the current name, and that's what we are putting. And then after that we have to put key. Key is compulsory whenever we are using for each or iterator. So we'll be saying key, and key is nothing but the unique ID for the element. And then whatever we want to iterate. So for example, if our query is having contact.name, so let's see here. Here we are getting name. So if we are getting the name, so we are saying contact.name. So that whatever we are iterating, we are getting that. So that's how our template works. So when just to revise, whenever we use for each, we are iterating, and then we are using key, which is compulsory and unique, and then for item is holding the current item. This is the syntax. This is how we use it for iterating the list. Now that we are good here, now let's start with the demo. So let's focus on HTML first. So we have created a simple lightning card with icon name, and then we have created a div. Now we say, so we have learned about if true, and we say that if that contact.data is true, that is it is having data, then do what? Then iterate over this, iterate over contacts.data, and then this is the current item, you can put any name, and then you say that you want to display contact.name. This is the key which you need to pass. So this is how you are saying that get me the data. And if there is error, so right now we said that if there is data, then do this. If there is error, then we will be going to another component which name is error panel, which I will show you in a while, and then we will be displaying the error. So now we are talking about the contact data for a while. So now let's see about it. So you can see here, the code is so simple, we just have to understand it. So there is step 1 and step 2. You can remember like that. Step 1 is this. So step 1 is that we will be importing, and now what we have to focus is, this is our class name, this is our method name. This particular method name we are getting from that particular class, and then we are using this as a reference, and this name should be same as this. So for example, if I say contact, get my contact list, see now the name are different, so it is not getting. I have to put this name here and not this name here. So we have to use this name. Now inside the class, what we are saying is, we earlier how we used to write property simply like this, but now because we want to attach to wire, because we want to get the stream of data, so we say @wire, and then basically we are getting the, we are attaching the method. So because method is getting referenced here, we are saying this. So now what it will do is, it will get data or error. So if we go back, the result are returned to properties data property or error property. So it will return the data error property or data. So if it returns data, then we say that okay, you have returned data, iterate over the data and show me the contact name. Otherwise iterate over error and show me the error name. Now we go to the class. So now what is the method name? The method name is get contact list. So if I go here, you can see that there is get contact list. So now what I am doing is, I am using the query to get ID, name, title, phone, email, all of them I'm getting. And then I'm saying that okay, whatever I'm getting, put it here and then showcase here by putting it like this. Now, the difference between using a function or a property, like I told that we can use function or property. Function we will be discussing later. But the use of the property is that if we just want to display and don't want to make any kind of changes from the data which we are getting, then we just simply for displaying, we get the values in the property itself, and then we say contact.data and it will be showing it here. As simple as that. So we don't need to make any changes, we just want to display, so that time we will be doing it like this. So now let's see the output. So I have created a practice.app, and here I will be making the Salesforce SLDS so that I have the lightning design, and then I will just update the preview. So what is happening? You are seeing the list of contacts. As I limited it to 10, that's why I'm getting 10 contacts. You can remove the limit or increase according to the query you want to do. Now let's do some changes. So if I go back here, now if I want to have contact name is there. Now if I want to have, for instance, the phone number or email. So what we need to do is simply there we will be passing contact. This contact is coming from four item, and then we say phone. So this phone is coming from here. So one second. So that's how we will be passing ID, name, title, phone, email from contact. Now going back, so now we have already revised the rendering list in Lightning Web Component. So we got it for each 4 item key, and that's how we write the template. Now we are done with this, with the first demo. Now we are talking about the Apex method to function in Lightning Web Component. So how we do that? So what happens is this component wires an Apex method calls to a function. Because the results are coming to the function, JavaScript can work on the results. So earlier what was happening, that we were just displaying it. But now if we to work on the results, make any modification and all, then we will be putting the function. So basically that's how the use of function is there. And also we have to note that the template access the data a bit differently than it do in the case of the property, which will be showing that how it accesses data differently. So again, what we need to focus here is that there we say that it comes in properties data or error property, but here the result is returned in an object. There it was result to the property, but here it is written in an object which is having data property or error property. And here we see template for each contacts, 4 item contact. So this is how we write it. And then this line remains the same, that we are having key and that we have the name. So that's how we write it. Now going back. So now the piece of code remains the same. The only difference which I want to show is that how it is different in the case of function and in case of property. So right now this is my case in terms of function, and let me open the property side by. Yeah. So if you see both the codes here, what you will see is that here in both the code, the lines, if you see the code is exactly the same, the output is exactly the same. The only difference is that here I'm saying for each contacts in case of the function, and in case of the property which we earlier saw, we say contacts.data. So here it is returning the object which is having the error property and the data property, and then we can access what we want to access. And in case of here we say contact.data or contact.error. So that's how the difference in putting is different. So what we read here is that the template access the data a bit differently than if results are provisioned to a property. So you can see that the results, the way of putting is different in case of the property and in case of function. So now let's go back to the function. So what we have done is simply iterating over it. Now if we go back to the JS, now here what we are doing it, here we have created two property, contact and error. Now basically error and data are coming from API and they are used as it is. So now what you will do is, if there is data, then what you do, then pass in this property, contacts property. We are using this because it is part of this class. And then we say put in undefined, because there is no error, right? Because we are in data. So that point of time, say undefined, put in the error property. And if there is error, then again put error in the error property, and then undefined in the contacts. So like that you do it. Now going back here, let's see the input of it, and we will see the console log to understand it better. So you can see this is the one apex wired method to function. It is also displaying the contacts. The only difference which I showed you was in the HTML, where there was only contacts instead of contacts.data. And that's how we are able to do it using function. So what we are doing is we are doing wire, and the same way we are using it. But earlier, if you focus on the JS of contactlist.js, so if you focus here, so earlier in the function, it was get contact list, and then we are wiring the property. Now when we are wiring a function, that point of time, we can put the logic, and we can say that what happens if there is data and what happens if there is error. And that's how you can retrieve whatever value you want to retrieve. Now if we go back to the HTML, I said that I will also talk about the error panel. So let's see what it has. So we say that if data is this, then do this, show contact name, which we are getting. But what if there is error? So I created another component, and that component is having a property. So basically it's a child component, we get it through kebab case, and then it is having a property. That property will be having at the rate API, so that we get it here, and then we will be using it. So let's see. And then it is having either data or error. So if there is error, then we will be showcasing like this. So if I go to error panel, so it says if there is error, then in the status, then it shows status, and then error dot status, status text, status message. So put like this. Now you will say that how these are coming. So let's discuss little bit in this. So there is handling errors. So for handling errors, there is fetch response error object, and this is coming from the fetch API response object. You don't have to worry that much about it. The main point is that here you saw their status, right? So contains the status of the code. It's just status text contains the status message. So these are already predefined. You just need to use it. So you say error dot status, error dot status text, error dot message. So basically they are coming from the fetch response error object, and it is part of fetch API. So you can see there is a fetch API JavaScript, and because which this fetch response is modeled after fetch API response object, and it is having in the body these values, and you can use them. So I'm simply, what I'm doing is I'm saying that if there is status, then show this, status text show this, and like that I'm displaying. And then I have declared a property error, API error, and what I'm doing is I'm defining there. So what happens is if there is an error, that point of time this error panel will be called, and it will be showing the status of error, status text, and the message of the error. Like that it will be showing. So that's how we need to remember. Now if I go back to the same piece of code, so if you see here, in this case, we are able to get contact, and we are able to discuss about the error panel. So we are using the same method which we were using earlier. The only difference was in HTML. So now we got it, that how we are able to display the same list of contacts using a function or a property. When we are talking about the property, there is some slight change, as in you can make a modification, something like that. But when it comes to property, you are simply displaying it. So that's what a difference is between the property and a function. We will be understanding in more detail by giving some example, but the basic remains the same. Again, we have discussed about rendering list in case of function where we don't put contact dot data. Now that we have understood without parameters, now we will be understanding by the with parameters. So if we go back, you have seen that we put the method name and we put the apex method parameters if there are any. So we put the parameters. If there are no parameters, then we don't need to put in. So if I go here, so now when we are discussing about apex wired method with parameters, so we can pass parameters as well depending on what we want. So we will be understanding it in depth by seeing an example, but that's how we can do. So because we you have to use a like operator, so we will be just understanding like some revision of it so that we understand it better. So what I am using here is like operator, so it finds any value that have or in any position. So with the help of example, I will be showing you exactly what I mean, but you can just go through and revise it so that you remember that what is the usage of light and what is the usage of percentage. So if I go back, you can see that I have used it here. So I just wanted to tell you that how it works. So basically it finds any value. Basically if we are writing cake, so cake, if the cake is there in any value, then it will be is showing in any position. If there is cake, then it will be displaying us the result. So let's go next. And before actually showing you this, I also wanted to show you the console log for the earlier one. Let me go back and show you that also. So if we go to the JS, so I put the console log for the data. So if you want to see that what is coming, so if you see the data is having the complete array and it is having all the values here. Test 1, 2, 3, Smriti, Sharan, all the values are here. And then the same value, what we are doing is we are passing it to the contacts. Basically, we are passing it to this dot contacts, and in that if you check again, it will show that in this dot contacts, this is what we have passed. So like that in the function we can pass the value. So data is already having the value which we are passing. If there is no error, then the data is having value, and then we are passing it to the property, and that particular property we are using in the HTML. So I just wanted to show you the console log to understand it better. So let's discuss about the params in Lightning Web Component. So let's go back. So you can see what I am writing, it is coming. And if you see, if for example I am putting sh, So sh is there in Smriti Sharan also, and it is there in Shreya Mathur also. So basically, in whatever position it is, get that. That is what our percentage sign, percentage or percentage sign does. So that's how it takes it. So let's understand the code. Now this is little bit interesting, because of which we will be, by this only we will be making a nice project. So this is important. So what we have done in the HTML is we have simply created an input. And input is lightning input, and it is having on change, so that whenever making any change, so it will be saying handle key change, event handler, and then the class, then value is there in the search key. So like that we have created a lightning input, and then we have created a template which we discussed. So let's see about the JS. So we have created a lightning input, and we say that if there is data, then show contact name. If there is error, then go to this error panel and do something. Now, if we go to the JS file, you will be seeing here that here I'm using the find contacts. So we are using find contacts. Okay, fine. Then what we are doing is, right now the search key property does not have anything. Now we are wiring. So there is find contacts. So we are writing find contacts here, and then we are writing here search key, and then you see there is a dollar sign. So dollar sign indicates that it is dynamic and reactive. So basically it references a property of the instance, and if we are changing the value, like we are changing in the input, then the template will re-render and will show you the output exactly the way we want to. So initially it will load the complete page, and then on the all the values, and on the basis of the change, it will be showing us what input we have put. So if we go to the HTML, here we say, here we have the event listener, which is the event handler there. So we have that on change, what it does, it calls the handle key change. So here there is a handle key change. Now we are calling an event handle key change, we are having in the event. So how we put it, is having in the target, event dot target, and then what we are targeting, we are targeting the value. So whatever is the value in particular input, so this particular value we are talking about. So whatever is the value here, so whatever is value here, we are putting it here. So we are talking about this particular value. So if we go back, we say that whatever is the value, so what it does is it passes in the search value. So there we have created a constant, we say that parse is in the search value on the basis of an event, and then we say that okay, whatever you have passed in the search value, then that particular you pass in the this property, search key property. Now that you are passing in the search key property, that is you are passing for instance Smriti, then that one will be going in your apex. So if we go to the apex, what is happening here is we are passing a string, for instance Smriti. So we are passing here search key, and search key is having string Smriti. Now we say that here instead of search key, what will be there, Smriti will be there, right? So we say that okay, in any position if there is Smriti or sh, whatever we want to put, so that time also you show. And then in the list we are querying, and we say that where it should be like this key, basically the key. So basically get id name from contact where it is like this key. So and we are limiting it to 10. So what we are saying is that get that particular value which we are referring to. So example, we are saying string sh. So whatever is having sh in whatever position, only get me that list of contacts and nothing else. So in that basis, it is displaying only that list of contacts. So if I say Kirk, it will only display this. But initially it is displaying everything. Initially, you see this contact is displaying everything. But as we say that on the basis of search key do this, so then it will be retrieving on the basis of search key. And every time we make change, What happens with the dollar sign is that it is dynamic and the template re-renders whenever we are saying putting any value. So that's how our constant display with parameters work. Now we can understand more by using the same example but in little bit more depth by using the fetch cake project using the wire service in lightning web component. So this will be little interesting for you. So what we are doing is we are accessing the cakes, and whenever we are making any changes, then we are getting that cake itself. So let's see the demo first. So here's the demo. Now if I put lemon, so it will be showing the lemon cake. If I put chocolate, it put chocolate, and if I put red velvet, it will be showing us the red velvet cake. And if I put nothing, then it will be showing us all the list of cakes. So let's see how we made it. So what I have done is you can have your standard product object or any other object you want to. So for this demo sake, I created an object called bakery. So it's in a custom object and it is having following fields. So I made a cake name, which is a standard field. I use description, I use price, and this is something interesting. URL I used for the putting the image. So we will be seeing that. So I have the bakery object. So I have created an bakery object, and inside that there is a view. So you can see that cake name, description, price is there. So if I go on any one of them, I have created URL. So I'm just putting the URL, and then in image source, I'm retrieving that URL. So it will be showing URL for that particular cake. So I'm using that. So that is URL is a data type which we need to use for in this case. So I've used that. So cake name is text. This is description is text area, and URL is of URL data type. And then price is again number. So I'm using that, and then I can create as many as I want to display the data, and I have created 24 data so that it looks good. So now going back to our record, our VS Studio, let's see. So if you see if even if the project is large or small, the concepts remains the same. So what I am doing is there is an input. Now you can style it the way you want to, look and feel you can change, but the main thing is that you are creating an input, then you are iterating over data, and you are getting the values. That's all you are doing, right? So this is how I have created the lightning input. Now just give me a minute, this is another one. So yeah, there's the input, I'm using that particular input, and then again I'm saying that on change, what you do, you call this event listener, which is an event handler in JS, and then value is storing here in the search value, and this is the template. And in the template, what we are doing is, if there's a data, it means we are using the property, right? Because in property we have the data property and error property, so we are using the property. So we are saying that if the get my products has the data, then do something like this. And we have not put the error, but we can put if there is error after this template, then do something else through error. So now if there is error, then modification you can do by putting div and all. But the point is that you will be iterating over the data, and then you can put any name here, which I said. So here you can put any name, which is the name of current item, and then you can put the item index or you can remove it. And then you can put here you can see the lightning card title. So now title generally we use like we write it like this, right? We put it like this, maybe cake name, we write it like this. But instead of that, if you want it to get it from JavaScript, you will be getting it like this. And then key, we have already discussed that you have to put the key. So you have to put the item name prod dot id so that it is unique. After that, now I want to get image, right? So how I can get image src. Now I'm getting url, right? So what you have to do, prod dot url, and then alt. If you don't have image, then it will show this, and then put it at center, and then you are getting the description, and then you are getting the price. Here I have put dollar sign here, so it will show dollar before the price. So like that, it will be what it will do. It will now, to understand clearly, it will be iterating over, for example, so it will be iterating over all of them. For example, it will be iterating over autumn cheesecake, and it will be showing description, price, the url, because image is rc I have put, so it will be showing the image. Like that, it will be keep on iterating over each one of them, and it will be displaying the complete list to us. So that's how it will be done. Now if I talk about js, okay, we talk about get my products. So it is bringing us a stream of data. So let's see how it is bringing. Again, our step one is, step one is that it imports. What it imports? It imports the method name. And then step two is that we attach the wire to a function or property. In this case, we have used the property. We could have also used the function depending on our use case. So I'm just displaying it. I'm not making any modification. So I'm just putting the property. So if you are putting the function, what will you do? You will say only like this. But like this, if you are using a function, because I'm using a property, so I'm saying get my product dot data. Now what I'm saying is that now I've created an input. Now again, in the input, I'm saying that there is change search key value, and I say that okay, basically whenever there is an event, whenever there is a change, so event dot target, and the value, whatever the value is, put that in the search value. And then the search value is a constant, and we are passing in the search key exactly the same the way we discussed earlier. But you can see the earlier UI was just displaying a list of contact names, and here you could just enhance it in any way you want to, but we are doing the same thing. So if I go here and see, we have already seen the demo that it is showing everything. And once we are putting a name, so it is showing on the basis of that, and it is basically re-rendering because of the dollar sign here. So if you go here, initially it will show all of them. On the change of value, it will be storing in the search key, and the search key, whatever we are putting, it will be storing it there, and it will be displaying based on that. So if we go to the apex, again what we have done is, so again the apex, just to remember, it should be or enabled cacheable equal to true, and it should be static. It can be public or global. And then we are passing, for example, we want chocolate cake, so I'm saying chocolate, so string chocolate, and then in whatever position chocolate might be, just display that and put that in the key. And we are saying that get only the list where it is having similar to chocolate. And then we can have system debug statement just to see that what is coming, and whatever is getting returned, the data is getting passed in get my product. So either there is data or error. If there is data, then we will be iterating over data. If there is error, then we can again say that go to a particular error object, error component which you have created, and in that particular error html you can do something. So like that we have created this. Now to under and just to remember, so the whole code is given in the chapter 31, fetch cakes using wire service and lightning web component. So you can go ahead and try to manipulate the code, and I will request you that just try, like I've tried cakes, bicycle, or accessories, whatever you like, just enhance in your way and create it. So earlier, what I showed you, it's on the similar concept. The difference is only that earlier we were making changes on the basis of a button. Sorry, on the basis of input change. Here we are doing on the button. So this I will give you as an homework, that whatever you put it here and do the search, then you will be seeing the cake, whatever cake you are putting. So just try it, that firstly try it using the input, and then try it that okay, here not in the input but on the search the functionality should be there. And I can give you a little hint on that. So here I have on the button itself, I will be putting the logic, not in the, so basically here in the search value, I'm having the value stored, and that will be passed in the button itself. So whenever we are invoking that button, then the change will happen. So here it will be having a button named search records, and on the click of the search records, the change will happen. So just go ahead, like the way I have created using the input, the same way you have to do using this. The only thing changes is that here I'm putting the dollar sign and putting the values. If you see here, there's no dollar sign, I'm not passing like that. So this is more related to the imperative way, which we will be doing in the later session, but that's why I'm not discussing it right now. But you can try ahead by just on the click of button, you want to display the list of cakes, so you can try that as well. So far we have completed fetch cakes using wire service and lightning web component, and chapter 30, access Salesforce data using wire service and lightning web component. So whatever we have discussed so far, it is exactly there with the output itself, also with the console logs. You can go ahead and check that, and your chapter 30 and 31 will be completed once you go ahead and practice that. Now that we have some time left, we can have some fun time with lightning web component. So the pop-up balloons by moving your mouse over the lightning web component. Let's see the demo of it. So what you have to focus here is that whenever you so there are a lot of circles there, and whenever you click on a particular circle, the pop is coming, and when you are able to do all of them, that the text is coming, wow, all balloons popped. So like that it is showing. Now let's see how we made it. Okay, so we are here. So first of all, let's focus on HTML, that what I have done. So let's forget about that much of styling. You can have div span the way you want to, but let's focus on how exactly it is being built. So I have created a div, inside it all the logic resides. So now let's talk about audio. So what I'm doing is I'm saying loop means repeating again and again, and here I'm getting the music from static resource, so I'm using this. And then after that you are putting h1 and putting text, which you can do. Now there is a class named yay no balloons. What that is having, wo all balloons popped. But if you remember, in the starting, wo all balloons popped are not coming. You can see, right? It is not coming. So let's see, it's saying that it should come, but it is not coming. Why it is not coming? So we are going to that particular css. So see, we have said display none, means don't show me. So though we have put the text, this is very useful and very common. So we saying that okay, we don't show me right now, but this is what it is having. Now there is a balloon gallery class, and inside that there are balloons. Now their div class balloon, 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 whatever circle you show. Now if I go there in the CSS, so if you see here, so basically the colors are coming from here. So you can see that border radius 100% is making it circle. And then for example we say that okay, we have the red balloons, then the nth child 3n will be showing the yellow, the same way blue, same way it will be showing gray. So basically you can see, right, that on a particular place there is a gray balloon, then on a particular place there is a red balloon. So these are coming because of css. We are saying, we are putting the position that on this position put the background as yellow, on this position put the background as blue. So like that we are displaying the position. And here in the balloon gallery div we have put the radius. So we are putting radius as 100%, so it is coming as circle. So this is all about your css and html. But now we got it that we are getting list of circles, and now what happens to them, that what we have to focus. So there are many ways to do it. I am using add event listener just to understand that how the add event listener works. But otherwise you can definitely go ahead and do something like this, that the way we do it, we say on mouse over here, and like that we put it in this html itself. But here I'm putting mouse over here. So there are two ways of doing it. Basically putting the event listener in the html itself is the better practice and more used. But in this case, just to learn add event listener, we are putting it here. So if you see here, there is a life cycle hook connected callback. So what we are saying here is that this is how we say add event listener. What added event listener does that, on the mouse over, call this particular function pop balloon. So it will call pop balloon. Now because it's an event, so we write it like this. Otherwise how we write it, we write it like this. So because it is having the event, so we are writing it like this. And now we say if the target class name is balloon. So if we go back to the css, the target html, so the target class is balloon. Then what you do, then make the background as this color. What is this color? This is this color. Because what we are doing, if you see, it is getting height and nothing else. So what we are saying is that put the background color as this, so it will get height, and show the pop. So we can write either in html or text content. So we are saying that hide it and show pop. And then in the popped plus plus you show the number. So right now it is 0. Once we are doing 1, so it becomes 1. So it keeps on increasing the number. So you can see, right, the way I'm popping, it is increasing the number, right? So again it will be increasing the number. I can have the pop-up count in console log, and then it will be calling checked all popped. Now I'm counting, and if there are 24, that time I will be putting console log all popped. Let's see. So it will be showing all popped in console log. And then we are saying that, see, in the query selector we put the class name. So we say dot balloon dot gallery class name, you make it blank. And then again go to yay no balloons. So you saw, right, in the html there was yay no balloons, and there was wo all balloons, which was display none. So now we will be saying display as block. by making it display as block, it will be showing us the message. So we are just executing because it goes line by line. So we say that okay, when it is 24, then go to this particular one and then show it. So like that it will get executed. So now this is one way of doing it. Another way would have been that you put the put here only on click on mouse over, and then put the event listener name, and then in that event listener you, like for example, here it's pop balloon, right? So you can put that pop balloon there itself, and in that pop balloon you can put the property, put the logic. So that's how you can work. But you can even use add event listener, it works the same way. So these are the two ways of doing it, calling the event and performing some kind of action. Here in the event you could have put click, mouse over, anything you want to put according to the logic you want to do. So homework for you is that read 29 chapter, learn about event listeners, accessing Salesforce data using wire service, and then fetch cakes. So one thing which I want to make note of, that now the topics are very important because now we are using Apex and getting the values. And the reason why I use the wire service first and then I will talk about in the next session about imperatives. The reason being because they are the most important and brings use the Apex and they are more complex. So once you have good holding on that, then others will be easier to learn. So and also I will recommend that you go to the material given in the documentation as well. So wire service in LWC, and then you can understand the wire service here, and then call apex method. They have written in a very nice way. The language might be little difficult. Like for example, they are saying that the wire service provisions an immutable stream of data. But we discussed, right, immutable is that what doesn't change. So sorry, what cannot be changed. So basically it is just getting it immutable object, and we cannot modify it. So like that you can search that okay, what immutable means, so it becomes easy. And each value in the stream is newest version, so it is just bringing it, and they are read only itself. And then if you want to make a change, then you have to make a shallow copy of the object to make the change. Mutate is nothing but to make the change. And then they are saying that you can go to data flow. We also saw dollar sign, right? So they say that okay, dollar sign makes it reactive and then it re-renders. So we saw that in the input when we were pressing something, it was re-rendering. So like that, then we are seeing about the syntax. Here the way we explain is the same way, just that the way of explaining is little different. You can see it as adapter id, or if you go in the next one, they have made it more easy. So you can say it as apex method name and apex method reference. So you do the first step, that you import it, and then they have explained what it is. And then this is about import reference, which we will be doing later. And here in the wire function you have seen that there is a property function and imperative, and then they have explained. So in the next session we are talking about the call apex method imperatively. And here they are returning basically list of contacts and pictures, but we are again we are retrieving other things in our situation. So you can see that is how they are getting the contact name, but whatever you want to iterate, it remains the same. So like that we have covered this topic. So go to the documentation as well. And thank you so much. So please go ahead, and please go ahead and ask any questions you have. We have 5 minutes window. So I will be here for around 5 7 minutes more, so you can ask any questions you want to. So yes, like Suresh mentioned that for wire service we always have to make cacheable equal to true. But when we are doing imperative, then we will learn that cacheable equal to true is not compulsory. So in the wire, if you remove cacheable equal to true, then it won't work. But in your imperative, it is not mandatory, and you can put or not put. Yes, Shantanu. So once we have completed our basic concepts, we can also meanwhile create some kind of project like the way I'm putting fun time like that. So you can put the kind of project you are looking for, and then I can work on building it. And then in the end section, in the fun time section, or in the project section, I can do it. So I have divided in the three parts. Once we are discussing the concept, then the project, and then about the fun time. So we can discuss that to show file upload in LWC. So basically, you are asking about the Aura component create and how we can do it. So as per as my knowledge is there is no equivalent to the $a dot create component API in the LWC, and that's how it is. So we cannot do that. So there is no equivalent for that right now. So I think yes, what we can basically in this thing you are saying that if we have one particular component and we want to reuse it, so we can create a component, right? And then whatever we are putting it, then we can reuse it. Let's see that actually. Um, so basically, for example, this is there, and we have the components here in the child component like movie tile, and we want to use in movie list. So then what we did, like input is the same, right? So we put the lightning card and everything in the movie tile. So we created lightning card, images and paragraphs, everything there. And then when we went to the parent component, so in the parent component we simply used that particular name, that is movie tile, and then whatever we want to do we can do it. So like that we can access. Just check once and let me know if that works for you. Okay, so you are asking about communities, right? So I'm not giving a very depth explanation right now, but just because you asked, there is nothing much you have to worry about in that case. Just quickly let me show you. We will discuss later when we have proper session. But if you see, you will be amazed to know that there is nothing much on that. Let me go there. So in the communities itself, when you go to the builder, for example, this, so what I have done is simply I have dragged that particular component. So you have component and then you just simply go here and drag it. That's all you need to do, and then you can save it. So for instance, and one more thing which you have to do is that in the metadata, you have to make the component also. But see, these are the custom components which are available. So whatever I want to show, I can just simply put it here and see. I will be able to see, I'm able to see account list like that. You are able to do it in the template, so you get that. And to get it, what you need to do is that let me go to app metadata. So in the metadata, like for example, we want to record page, we put that target like that. And if you want to put in the community, we put this in the community. If you put this and then you go to particular component and just keep on dragging it, that's it, you get it. So that's how you are able to get the in the community. Now what kind of community you want to use, again you can go here and see the theme and keep on changing the theme according to your wish. But the dragging of the component remains the same, but you have to make in the metadata. That's all the two steps which you have to do. Yeah, sure. I can cover when I am showing like parade drums using Lightning Web component. I'm just dragging that there, or if I'm using any other Lightning Web component in the community. But like I said, that it is pretty straightforward. You go to the builder and the component, you just drag it. So I'm just giving my email address. So in that, what you want to see as a project in the upcoming sessions, you can put it there, and I will try to build that and help you in seeing that. So whatever navigation question you have, just send it to me there. And if I have if this is priority or everyone is wanting that, then we can try. Yeah, navigation anyways we will cover in later section. It is not a big topic. So once we are covering about the accessing data, after that we are covering the navigation. So if you see here, we have some topics left in the how to access Salesforce data. So we have to do lightning data service as well. Then we have in the apex also we have imperative. So once that is done, then we will go to navigation. But that is not that difficult. We can cover that later. But first of all, we need to cover how to access Salesforce data as we have started this. Basically, I'm not sure if it is LWC part when you are facing a login issue. That is in the community itself. You have to go to the community and check that. So, I can help you with that, but it is not a part of LWC. That is part of community. So we can check it there itself. Any other question people have, or we can end the session? I can wait for 1 or 2 minutes more. So I just request you to practice, and whatever, like I got one that get a PDF or something like that, that I will try to create and show you in one of the classes like that. If you have anything, you can email me, and we can try to discuss that. So thank you so much. I'm ending the session now, and please keep on practicing and keep me updating, and let me also know if I can improve in some way. So thank you so much, and please like, comment, share, subscribe SFT Simplified, and thanks for watching.